So let's talk about sacred sexuality. In today's day and age, people don't really think too much about sexuality on a spiritual level. Even though it's one of the most sacred types of communion you can share with another body on this planet, we still don't think in those terms. There's so much sexuality that we are bombarded with constantly, and so we see it very objectively. We see physical features as a sign of sexuality. We see different moods, settings, romantic music, let's get the Marvin Gaye on or whatever. We still don't think in those terms of sacred sexuality. Now, when a woman gives birth to a child, the vagina, the yoni, whatever you want to call it, that canal becomes a literal portal for life to incarnate onto this planet. Now, you might argue that, oh no, the baby starts growing in the womb, but really they're in a completely separate environment and they're not a part of our world until they are birthed through that canal. Obviously, we have medical procedures, we can bypass the canal, but in a natural world, that canal is the portal for life. And so in that kind of context, you have to realize that this portal literally connects you through the veil to a divine energy. So that divine energy that you connect to doesn't just happen during birth. It's not just a portal that you can turn on and off. It's not just a door that you can open and close. The vagina is literally always a portal to divinity, to that supreme consciousness. And even when you are having sex and you enter that portal, one of the things I've always understood about orgasm is that when you reach that peak of ecstasy, that ecstasy is you literally tuning into divine energy. And so when a man enters a woman's portal and taps into that divine energy, they easily reach that point of ecstasy and orgasm. But a woman, on the other hand, might not orgasm as easily, even though that portal, that connection is within their own body. They still have to detach themselves mentally and tune into their body and actually focus on channeling into themselves that energy. And that's how they can reach orgasm. It is her body that is that portal to divine energy. Whereas a man, when he taps in, he plugs into that source of energy through that canal, through that portal. One of the most important things when understanding that is that you can, first of all, consciously connect to that divine energy. Even when you're masturbating, anytime you orgasm, you are tuning into divine energy. And if you're consciously aware of that, there's a lot of power in that. You can use it for manifesting, you can use it just to even help align your own chakras. So, you've got this energy that comes from your root chakra at the base, and then it goes up your spine all the way to your crown chakra, where it opens up your energy field to divine consciousness and the supreme consciousness all around us. But when it comes to manifesting, that's another area to touch on. So we have the divine feminine energy with the womb and the canal and the portal to this womb where life is created, and they have the seed of life, and the man has the fertilizer for that life. And he, once he enters her womb, enters her canal, and then, ejaculates, and it reaches her womb and reaches the egg, yes, life in a very physical form is created. That's creation. That's magic in a sense. I mean, it's you can see the moment that the sperm reaches the egg and life begins to start, there's a spark of energy. You can see it in the microscopic footage that they have of that happening. And that's life. You can witness it. But when it comes to manifesting on a different level, like say you're not actually conceiving a child during sex, which in most cases, that's not the goal of sex nowadays, that is still powerful energy. You still have the ability to create through sexual energy and through the culmination of sex. And it's not just about orgasm, it's about recognizing that connection while you're in the moment. You can build up to that, being consciously aware of the divine connection that sexuality holds. Once you're consciously aware that you're tuning into that, it's not just about the culmination, it's about even prolonging the experience of that divine connection, and that carries over into other aspects of life. When you're just going through your day, a healthy sex life, especially on a spiritual level, is going to positively impact the rest of your life. In another sense, you can take that energy consciously to manifest and create. And whether you recognize that you are or not, you're always doing this. So if you're in a relationship with somebody who's not spiritually aligned, what are you manifesting when you have sex with that person? If you're not right and you're having sex you're still creating. You're just perpetuating and growing that kind of energy that's within both of you. So many of us don't even recognize the spiritual aspect of sexuality. And so we're going around, from partner to partner to partner without ever even going through and clearing the energy that we have taken in residually by having these sexual encounters with these different partners. And so every time that we sleep with a new partner, we are not only mixing all of our old partners with theirs, but they're mixing all of their old partners with us. And the web that weaves creates not just, misaligned energy, but it starts this sort of karmic cycle. It perpetuates it, I should say, because the karmic cycle has been kind of going on for a long time. But when you mix those energies and they start to interweave, there's this sort of, it's almost like a domino effect in the way that, if your energy connects to this person's energy, then maybe there's some past life connection involved in that, where that cycle is suddenly triggered. And so all of a sudden you're going to be dealing with some karma from before because you mixed your energy with a soul from a past life, potentially, that you had already finished your business with in that past life. Now all of a sudden you're stirring up the muck at the bottom of the river. And so that is why it is absolutely essential to clear your sacral energy. Most of it's held, for a female, it's held mostly in the sacral chakra, which is right below your belly button, the womb area between your hips. For a man, because a lot of their sexual energy is in the gonads, a lot of their sexual energy is actually held within the root chakra. The chakra doesn't just rule that sexuality, it rules all of those other aspects of life. And just because it's sexual energy that might have thrown things off balance a little bit does not mean that it's not going to affect the other areas that same chakra affects. It all is connected. And having a combination of different lovers' energies mixed in there creates chaos. And in that sense, it takes you away from focusing on your path, your direction, and what you are meant to do. Because you are suddenly involving all this extra karma and all these other paths of other people who are kind of misguided, and you're trying to move on your spiritual path in one direction. You want to fulfill the reason you're here, but you keep taking in all these other energies from different people. And it's not saying that you shouldn't have sex with anybody. It's not saying that there's even one person you should have sex with. What I'm saying is that you need to be conscious about the sex that you do have. And you do need to remember to clear that energy out. Unless you are with a partner who you're going to be with for the rest of this life, you don't want to mix that partner's energy with future partners. You want to clear that energy out and start with you, your own energy at your core. Because that's where I think even a lot of the confusion in relationships and so much trauma, so many people are so jaded. There's so many people who are just having sex. And as a physical act, sure, it's fun, it's pleasurable, wonderful, but when it really comes down to it, it's so much more than just a physical act. And people are naive to the power that sexuality holds. People, their only fear is getting a sexually transmitted disease or getting pregnant when they're not ready for a child, but it creates so much more energy than just that. That is literally creation energy when you have sex with someone. People look at the Kama Sutra as they're, exploring sexuality kind of comically, like, oh, look at all these different positions that I can get into with my partner. Which ones have you tried? But those positions relate specifically to aligning certain chakras, to using that sexual energy in a spiritual way so you can reach that point of bliss and ecstasy and connection to God, to the super conscious. Because that is literally our easiest access point, is through orgasm, to actually reach that connection to God. And it can transcend just orgasm. I mean, it could go through sex if you know what you're doing, if you tap into your body as the incredible vessel that it is in this conscious world. My hope is that when you watch this video, you'll at least start thinking consciously about how you're spreading your own sexual energy and about who you're allowing to intermingle their sexual energy with yours. It's incredibly important to be conscious. Clear that shit out. That is the most sacred type of communion you can share with another body on this planet. There's so much more I could touch on in this, but I feel like I hit the main points. If you like what I had to say here, if it sounds like it's something that makes sense to you, go ahead and share this. Thank you for watching. Real Talk with Spirit. I'm Mhawk.